Hello, everyone, and welcome to Plate Stack Chat. My name is Jason. I had a little break because I went away for the Rogue Invitational, but now I am back and lots of shows are on the way, starting with the fabulous guests that are joining me today. So first up, we have a returning guest who was last on shortly before heading off to the semi-finals in France, where she put up an incredibly strong performance that might explain why she will be part of Team Europe at FitFest before heading off to Budapest for the International Functional Fitness World Championships the following week. Please welcome back Ella Wilkinson.
Hi.
It's been busy. Ella, you've been busy since you were last on.
Yeah, I feel like a lot's happened.
Yeah. And we'll get to all of that in a minute. Maybe the only thing Jeffrey Birchfield's in the comments. I have no idea what time it is. It's like 7 a.m. I think where he is. So that's interesting. That's dedicated. They must really care about you, Ella. That's nice. Speaking of caring about you, maybe the best thing I heard when you were at semi-finals, because you were on with Barkley, who didn't know much about you before coming on the show. And then he messaged me during semi-finals about how invested he was in your story because of having been on the show. So I really liked that. Anyway, it is not just 7 a.m. in Texas. Oof. It's not just Ella and myself. We are being joined by another incredible athlete who we will also be seeing in Budapest. We often describe athletes as high flying when we see them on the rings or the rig, but this is one of the few athletes we actually see flying. In fact, if you see her smiling when she's on top of the podium at an event, it is only because that is more money to fund her extortionate pilot training. It is, of course, Anita Mcartney.
Hello, how's it going?
Well, let's address the elephant in the room, Anita. You're in a car.
I am indeed. It was because of me it's been pushed back half an hour, and here I am still in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah, that's fine. I mean, I think Jeffrey probably appreciates that because otherwise it would be 6:30 for him. So at least it's a slightly more reasonable time. So what happened? Because Ella told me you sent her you sent me a picture that you were in traffic. She told me you sent her a video.
Yeah, I was just sending out regular updates, basically. But essentially, I think there was this car that, I don't know if there was a crash or it just randomly combusted into flames, but it was just completely blacked out. So I think that just caused a massive traffic jam. So instead of the usual 45 minutes that it takes me to get back home, it's probably going to end up being about 4 hours.
Wow. We don't know how long this show's going to run yet, so that could,
That's true. It could grow.
Could make it good. Ella, cancel your running that you've got at 2. We've got to keep Anita on the line. Where were you coming back from? So had you been flying?
Yeah, so I was flying this morning. The airport that I'm based at is in Perth, which is about an hour away from Edinburgh. So it's always a bit of a commute. A bit of a risk every time, and this time it hasn't paid off.
Oh, I see. Okay, hold on. You've mentioned Edinburgh. Okay. How much fun did you have at Rogue when you were listening to athletes talk about the fact that after their little stop in Aberdeen, they'd be heading down to Edinburgh or the likes?
Yeah, I mean, it was pretty unbelievable, to be honest, because you'd never expect, whenever you're watching them live on YouTube or TV or whatever, you'd never expect them to be very local to you. But annoyingly, on the Monday, which is when most of them came down and they were going through all the sites and things, I was sitting at work in the office. So it was not the best.
Yeah, that's the problem when these events are so local. Is like you can't take much time off. It's not like you're taking off a whole week to go there. You're sort of
Well, exactly. You're just getting on with life.
Yeah, I was. Oh well, you're like this as somebody who flies planes. On the Monday, I was flying back to Bristol, and we got to the gate. Like the priority boarding people got taken on. Then we saw them get sent back, and we got told our flight was delayed. And then we heard we got moved to another gate, and then they said, "Oh, there's something wrong with the plane." And I could hear the pilot speaking to somebody, and it's like, someone, "Oh, don't worry, we've got another plane we can dig out. We'll use that." And that didn't fill me with confidence that they were just going to, pull out another plane from somewhere. Yeah, kick the tires. Yeah, probably good to go. So
I mean, considering they raised this as a safety issue, that, if anything, should fill you with confidence, because it means that they actually took it seriously.
Okay. It was also the smallest plane I'd ever been on, so that didn't,
Was it a bit turbulent?
Yeah. And also when I landed, I wasn't ready when we came back, and I was still like just my head in what I was looking at, and we just hit the floor, and I was like, "Wow, that was so." Yeah. Anyway, that
He
was
didn't
my.
boost the landing, basically.
No, there we go. There we go. Let's get an expert on for this. Ella, you weren't at Rogue though. I didn't see you.
No, so I actually planned on trying to qualify, and I did 2 of the qualifiers. The wall-facing handstand push-up one, after seeing the results, was like pretty good in the field. Like, I feel like it would have been a good score. And then I did the barbell one, which I was dreading the most. So I had 4 days. I was like, I'm just gonna one and done them all. Got to the Saturday, and it was the 21 deadlifts at 110, 15 cleans at 80 or 81, and then 9 squat snatches at 47, and then it ended on the 40 cal row. Obviously for row you got to weigh the weights, so had all the barbells loaded, and obviously had to take all the weight off, show the weights on the scales, and then put them back on. And I take full responsibility, and I totally should have checked.
Okay,
but
here we go.
My friends accidentally put 45 instead of 47 on the snatch bar, and I got like, I can't remember what it was, but again, when the scores came out, the score that I did get, obviously it's invalid, but would have been a good enough score, I'd say. And then I went to Nando's afterwards, and I was like, we definitely put 47 on that bar. I was like, it wasn't 45. Then I looked at my video, and there was only a 10 and a 5 on it, and I was like, oh. So then obviously I had 2 days, and I would have had to have done 3 workouts, because I still had to do the bar muscle up overhead squat one,
Right.
and I was going to save the dumbbell snatch echo bike one till the last, because it's like the most grueling / longest one. Once you're done with that, I would have been done. But I think mentally at the minute, getting back to that push, especially since semi-finals, kind of like repeating a workout for me, it sort of mentally I wasn't in the right place to redo that workout, because I got like 5 cals in on the 40 cal row, and I was like, I'm gonna cry. So yeah, I didn't want to redo it. So I'm a bit gutted. I feel like could have potentially been there. Not saying I would have, but obviously I won't know. So hopefully next year. But yeah, I did plan on competing if I would have qualified. So
Oh yeah. I did plan on competing if I would have qualified. Oh, you mean that all expense paid competition where they get you there, pay for your hotel, and you win prize money even when you come last?
I know. I did watch the live stream, and it looked amazing. It looked so cool. So I was
the atmosphere was amazing.
There to watch, but yeah, hopefully next year.
Yeah. Did you try and qualify for it, Anita?
No. So this is actually quite funny, because at Strength and Depth, the one that was in July, which me and Taylor both competed at.
So I was going to say, I was going to bring that up.
So Taylor at the time actually asked me if I was doing the qualifiers, because she was obviously, and I was like, oh, no, I've already got my spectator ticket, it's fine. And yeah, obviously Taylor qualified, and she did amazing, and it was really cool to see her on the floor as well. But I don't know, it just sort of, I think at the time I probably still actually don't really have that kind of belief in myself yet. So I'm working on it. But
which is interesting, because you said both you and Taylor competed at UK Champs. That is true. Taylor competed at Rogue. That is also true. Taylor finished second at UK Champs. Anita, where did you finish at UK Champs?
So I somehow finished first. Yeah, I came first at SID, which was a massive confidence boost for me, because going into it, it was just kind of an experience thing. I just wanted to see what my mindset was going to be like, and how I would perform more on my own, because I haven't really had much experience individually. And we thought that would be sort of a good almost stepping stone for me, just to see how I do. So yeah, it obviously ended up being very successful to me, but hopefully I'm just gonna sort of treat it as the start of my journey. But but yeah, it was a great experience for me.
Nice. So probably you were there watching Taylor like crush it at Rogue and going, well, I mean, if she finished in this, I probably would have finished maybe one place or two places above. So that's
Well,
yeah.
not necessarily. I mean, obviously all workouts are different, and
Yeah.
Taylor's a great athlete. So, I mean, who knows how I would have done, to be honest. I think it would have been interesting to actually do the qualifiers just to see where I would have ended up. But I don't know, maybe next year.
Yeah. I mean, I think Taylor did very well because she came on the show like just before Rogue, like a few days before we were all leaving for it. I see people walking around your car and I'm getting nervous for you. But they don't know how strong you are, so maybe I should be nervous for them. But she was sort of like, oh, I'm happy that I've qualified. I'm happy to be there. Like she didn't have any expectations for herself. But there are a couple of workouts that she really like, held her own against these women that are literally the best in the world at what they do. So
I did sort of have a conversation with her at Strength and Depth, and she was saying sort of she was training on her own at the time, and she was trying to basically fall in love with competition again. And I think that is an important thing. Like you have to enjoy what you're doing, and you have to be happy to compete. And usually, you tend to do well off the back of that.
Oh, I think she's fallen in love with competition again because she was at an event like the 2 weeks before Rogue, and then she was at another one the following weekend after Rogue. So you can't stop that girl competing now. That's all she does. Speaking of like Sid adjacent, FitFest is coming up.
Yeah.
Ella, how'd you get invited to FitFest?
Wow. So obviously I'm managed by Snorri, and I feel like he's got quite fair few connections. But yeah, I didn't expect it. I think I saw a bit of it last year because obviously Jen did it last year, and my boyfriend was competing in triple threat, so I kind of got to see both really, and it looked really, really good. But yeah, I have a little bit of imposter syndrome, and just because I haven't really been on a floor like that since semi-finals, and I know it's a showcase and it's like fun, so I am really looking forward to it. I just at the same time hope I can keep up.
But I think who was it? Maybe it was even Jen. I was speaking to her about it, and she like last year, and she was saying about just the amount of experience she was able to kind of gain from being there and being around these athletes. So even if you look at it, I guess maybe look at it more as like an apprenticeship than imposter syndrome of being like, hey, this is an opportunity for me to kind of steal from them when they are, because like at semifinals, everybody is like, oh, we've got this goal. We're here. You're my enemy. Basically, you're trying to stop me getting my ticket, and I'm trying to stop you getting your ticket. They're not, and even though people, everybody's friendly, everybody's clapping, everybody's cheering you on, but at the end of the day, they're probably not giving you the, that advice you need at that moment if that's going to potentially cause you to beat them in an event. Whereas when you're all on a team together and it's a showcase and it's all about kind of having fun and putting on a something entertaining for the fans.
Yeah.
Maybe that is when they will give you some really good advice that might help you next year. Especially, I was going to say especially if you're not going to go up against each other, but you're also on Team Europe, so technically you would all be competing for the same spots. So that's oh well.
No, I think I do think it'll be a really good opportunity and just like a really good experience. So I'm really excited to like soak all that up. And like you said, kind of learn from people that have been in the game for a lot longer than I have. And I've been lucky to meet a fair few of the team members that I'm with anyway. I did a training camp in Tenerife earlier on in the year, and a handful of the people on the team were there as well. So I've briefly met the majority of the people, and everyone's really nice. So yeah, I'm sure.
Was Yella though? Was Yella there? Yeah,
Yella was there. Yonna was there. Trying to think of who else.
Like, was that the one with like Elisa Fuliano? Was she there as well? I think
Elisa Fuliano wasn't. Thuri and Emma Tall were, but I met. Well, obviously I know Harry and Amy. From the UK as well. So I've known Emma McQuaid for a few years as well. So I feel like a fair few of them I know pretty well. And obviously me and Lucy met through WIT, and we're quite good friends. So I'm looking forward to catching up and doing it with her as well.
If you know Emma, you've got like one of the team captains in your pocket. That's pretty good, isn't
Yeah.
it? She'll be kind to you. Look at that. Look at these nice compliments coming from Imposter Syndrome Balderdash. You were there for a reason. There you go.
I think it's more because everyone on the team has been to the CrossFit Games, apart from me. But again, like semi-finals was like a good eye-opener because obviously that's the first time I've been on the floor in a while, and I've made like a lot of improvement in the past 2 years. So obviously next year it'll be nice to see kind of where I'm at as well. But yeah, I think it's more just seeing how it goes. But yeah, I think it'll be fun.
Yeah, I think so. Are you planning to, Anita, are you planning to be at FitFest?
No, so I'm not going down, but I have actually thought about it because last year it looked amazing and a lot of my friends went as well. So I might still be there. I don't know that.
Yeah. Yeah, but you have to go there and be like, I'm not here for the elite show. I'm here for triple threat. I care about the local competition. I prefer, I care about these athletes that I'll be then going around beating at competitions for the rest of the year. Not the
No, I'll be there cheering on Ella. Come on, Ella.
Anita looks cold. Yeah. Are you cold, Anita?
I mean, you're in Scotland, so.
Well, yeah, it was pretty frosty this morning. It took me about an hour to de-ice the plane.
I thought you were going to say the car.
Yeah, I know. It's such like a. Oh, it took me an hour to de-ice the plane. And you're like, okay, fair enough. I mean, I find it fascinating. I love watching your like Instagram stuff when you're just like, I just thinking, everyone else is like, oh, look at my car. Oh, I parked here, and oh, look at this crazy place. And you're just like, I'm just flying over everyone. I mean, that must really frustrate you when you get stuck in the traffic like today, because you're just thinking, oh,
yeah,
up in the air.
It would have been so much easier to fly over, but no.
Yeah, not a day for barbells and echo bike. Is there ever a day for the echo bike? I'm not sure. Well, I will hopefully see you. I should see you then at FitFest, Ella, I believe. Mm-hmm. I believe I'll be there in some capacity. Probably not on the competition floor with you, but standing very close to the competition floor, I hope, and speaking to you after. So that will be fun. But then you've got another trip almost immediately after this. This is crazy. You're busy. Yeah. Who do you think you are, Taylor Howe? You can't just be throwing competition after competition. So you are both going to be heading to Budapest for the International Functional Fitness World Championships. Have you seen how many athletes are going to be there?
I don't know the exact number.
I know there's a lot of UK athletes going, but no, I've not seen the total number.
Do you want to guess?
As in, like, including masters, teens, age group, everything. I'm not good at this stuff. 400.
Double it.
Close.
About 800.
I was not close.
Yeah. Yeah. And like, it's crazy. I was on a call with one of the guys that's sort of organizing the stuff over in Hungary, and they were sharing some of the stats, and like they've got it all, on the different spreadsheets and things like that. And it's crazy. You've got so there's a couple of athletes coming over from Mongolia.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it's crazy. Like the number of countries that are there represented, and then just the quantity of athletes. It's going to be mad. Are you looking forward to it?
Yeah, I think it's different. Like it's just obviously it's not CrossFit, it's functional fitness racing, so it's like I think it's different. I think the events are obviously a little bit different at times as well. I remember watching Phil Roy's team last year, and it looked pretty good. Like they have a few more like skill components. Like when we did the trials, it was like handstand walking with a block in between your legs and things like that. All different things that we've not done on like a different comp floor, really. So yeah, don't really know what to expect, but I'm excited.
Yeah, I think that's the bit that I'm most excited for, is all the sort of little challenges and bits that you wouldn't quite expect being thrown in. I think that's probably the most fun.
Yeah, it's funny because it's sort of, you're like, oh, the unexpected stuff, but at the same time, sort of the concept behind it is it being a little bit more structured and a bit more predictable than, CrossFit that can just throw out anything and say like, oh, we're going to change things on the day. Oh, we've decided we're going to add this implement that you've never seen before. Whereas the whole kind of concept of the IF3 and it being like, no, we want it to be a structured sport with governance, with a rule book that is fixed, and means theoretically it should be more like predictable. But you're like, oh, it's actually, I don't know what to expect. So I think that's probably just lack of being involved in that. Is that the same as the IF3? It is exactly that. Yes. Which Sam had already mentioned. Yes, it is. What was the qualification process for the IF3? There you go.
It was quite fun, wasn't it? It was like, so you went to, it's CrossFit Rotherham, and that's where it was hosted, and we did basically in a 90-minute window, you did 3 events. So event 1 was you had 5 minutes to do a max clean and jerk, and then you had 5 minutes to do a 5-rep max touch and go squat snatch, and then 5 minutes to then do a 10-rep max overhead squat from the floor. So it was literally just 15 minutes. Obviously, you just move from one lift to the next, and then you rested 15 minutes, and then you were straight into the next one, which was the handstand walk.
Yeah, the handstand pullover.
But the pullover standard was like you had to do, your chin had to be over the bar before you could then lift your legs over. Whereas how like the sort of standard that we've done in CrossFit is you can sort of just whip around and round and use the momentum of your legs. It makes it a little bit more challenging.
It makes it a bit safer as well.
Yeah, agreed. Agreed. And then you rested another 15 minutes after that, and then you did a sprint workout. So it was kind of like over and done with pretty quick. Like also, you had 90 minutes.
We also had, remember, the 10-minute on each erg pre-comp day.
I forgot that. We had to do we had to do, was it what, 1K, 2K row, 2K ski, 4K C2 bike for time. So that was done prior to the event. You just had to submit it before a deadline, and then I think it was the week after we then did the 3 events.
Wow, sounds like, I mean, is that, I don't know. I'm trying to think, is that a lot or is it not a lot? Because some of the, like, you see some online qualifiers and they're, they break you more than the competition almost, because it's, I mean, who is it? Well, Harry, we were talking about Harry Lightfoot before. When he was on, we were talking about the qualifiers for Dubai that had come out and how they were just like shoulders on shoulders on shoulders almost. And it was just sort of not necessarily what was then going to be reflected in the competition itself, but it was just these workouts that they put out. He was more than a little critical of the qualifier programming for the Dubai Fitness Championship. I hear it is more standardized than CrossFit from a judging perspective. Maybe. Well, I mean, you've just mentioned on the what did you just talk about? The I want to say rollovers, but that's pullovers. There we are. Oh man. Hold on. In-person qualification. Nice. So were there 4 locations around the world, or did Rotherham just do you a solid? I think you all went to the same.
Everyone went to the same. It was like individuals were on the Saturday, and then they did the teens on the Sunday, and then the masters with the individuals as well. I think Mark, who is part of the federation, he owns CrossFit Rotherham, so I think it all tied in quite well, really, and we all just travelled there for that day.
Yeah,
they did 2 heats as well, so it was like half of the girls went in the morning, and then the other half went a couple of hours later, just to kind of, I think it would kind of help people that were, say, arriving late or whatnot, so that there was like a slot that you could do it in.
Do you have any idea what to expect when you get there, like with regards to how the event's going to be structured, sort of how many things how many events you're going to have to do, how much kind of work capacity there's going to be over the days that you're there, or is it all a mystery at this point for you?
They get released on is it the 28th? So we're on.
Yeah, I'm not sure the exact date, but I think it's the week of.
Yeah, so I think similar to any of like competition, really, they'll release the events maybe like a couple of weeks beforehand. I'd imagine it might be similar to last year. It seemed to run really well last year. I can't remember how many events people did, but yeah, I'm not really too sure on that one.
Okay, well,
I guess we'll find out on the.
Here's someone who might know. Here we are. Magda, she'll be there. Qualification at Forge Functional Fitness was UK only. Every national has its own national federation with qualifications into IF3 Worlds. Okay. Magda, do you know anything about how many events we should be expecting to see at the Worlds? But you're right. Now that date that you've just mentioned rings a bell. I think that's a Thursday night that it's going to be dropping here, if I'm not wrong. I'm pretty sure that's what I was told. 29th of November is when the workouts go out, I think. Okay. Well, there we go. So I guess we're all just waiting to see. Well, I'm looking forward to it. I've heard there's also going to be a live stream, but they haven't yet announced where or how people will watch that. But I've been told it's going to be there, and I've been told that that potentially there'll be like screens set up around the venue as well. So even if you're not like in the main area, people will be able to kind of watch what's going on, because obviously some people are traveling from quite far and they're not going to be sitting there watching the whole thing with all those athletes running through. This is sort of what I was wondering about. Okay, here we are. 6 events, Olympic format. Endurance, strength, skill, bodyweight, mixed, power. There you go. I'm helping you, Ella and Anita. I'm helping you guys prep and be ready for this.
This is the pre-prep phase.
Yeah. I can't believe you don't already know all of this. Have you booked your hotel? That's another important question.
I booked my flight the other day, so at least we're arriving. I need to book an Airbnb for one night because I'm sharing with Anita.
I was going to say, you're sharing with me.
We've got that booked, but we're flying on the Wednesday because we have to be there by a certain time on the Thursday for the ceremony. So the flights on the Thursday didn't get there in time. So I've got an extra day. So I might go to the Christmas markets and have a great time.
Hold on. UK camp. UK camp on the 30th. So they'll learn it all from that. Magda, where's the camp on the 30th? Just so I know.
CrossFit Rotherham.
CrossFit Rotherham again. Okay. So you've booked your flight though. That's good. You and Anita, you've obviously got your Airbnb booked. I assume you're flying yourself over there.
I wish, but no, not this time. Yeah, we're flying some weird way because A, the times were weird from Edinburgh,
Right.
and B, it was just for some reason extortionately expensive to go just a direct route there and a direct route back. So we're actually flying to Belfast and then to Budapest, and then on the way back we're flying to Gatwick and then to Edinburgh.
Okay. Wow, sounds fun. I will be going. I'm really excited. I'm going to be there.
Oh, are you? I didn't know that.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I don't think I've mentioned it yet. Now I'm mentioning it. Hey guys, I'm going to be there. So I'll be interviewing you on the sidelines when you come off of the, I don't know, which will be the endurance one when you're absolutely dead. And I'm like, hey, how was that? Was that fun? Did you enjoy that? Yes. So I'm very excited. So I've been in chats with the guys over there in Budapest, sort of organizing stuff. So I've got my media pass squared away. That's all fine. Looking forward to it. Joining me will be Mrs. Jason CF Media, so that'll be fun. My wife is coming as well, so yeah, you'll get to see us working as a team, which has never happened, but it might also happen at FitFest, so you might sit there as well. But so yeah, it's going to be a busy December for me as well. I keep having to like cancel stuff when people find strange because I never go anywhere. I'm always at home. And suddenly I was like, oh, I'm away for Rogue. Oh, I'm away for FitFest. Oh, I'm away in Budapest. So November and December have been busy, but don't worry, 2025, nothing planned. You and your wife have the same first name. No, we don't have the same first name. Of course not. Of course not. Yeah. I'm also flying in on further. I think I'm just flying Luton to Budapest quite early. I think it's like 8. It's like an 8 o'clock flight, which means I've realized that means I need to get from Bath to Luton before that. And that's like a 2-hour drive, maybe a bit more. So, yeah, I didn't plan it as perfectly as I thought, but I was focused on trying to make sure I got in early on Thursday to be able to attend the ceremony thing you were talking about. I thought there was going to be an athlete briefing, but I've also heard that because there's going to be like 800 odd athletes, there might be some kind of online briefing as well. So maybe I don't need to be there for that. But hey, exciting. You've got a massive team going from the UK. was going to ask if you know how many athletes are going over from the UK, but Magda might beat you to it.
I feel like she will. I did see a post about it, and it was a good number. I just can't remember what it was.
Why is 35 ringing a bell? Am I wrong?
I mean, what would be?
Where there was like 20 something teenagers going.
Yeah, I mean, I know quite a few of the. Well, we had Molly was on the other day, pre-Rogue, and we were talking about her 37. See,
I was close.
You were very close.
Yeah.
So, I guess the real question then, Anita, is who are the 2 athletes that you didn't feel made the cut and you've decided to cancel and remove from your list?
I'm not going to say. Maybe it was me and Ella.
I was going to say you're not counting. It's that classic thing where you're counting everybody else.
Exactly.
And you're not counting the 2 people that are on the call right now. Very clever. Very smart. Yeah, but I think that I just think it's all happening at a very interesting time as well. Like with, we're seeing more and more athletes now as well saying that they're probably not going to be competing. Well, pause that for a second. Let's you're the 6th nation by size. Sweden, Norway, Finland, Germany, and Spain are ahead of us numbers wise. It's pretty good. Yeah, okay. Very good. If anybody's interested, if you're listening to me, like, what are they talking about by this thing? I did actually have Magda and Harry on from the BF3, and we spoke through the whole concept of what they're doing. Of this is obviously just one element, this competition, but then there's all the kind of why they actually want it to be established as a sport and what that means in general, like big picture thing. So that is on the channel. People can go back and find that. It was a very interesting chat. But you guys are competitive athletes. That's what you care about. So we've got you on to talk about that. What's your 2025 season looking like at the moment, by the way?
I have no idea.
It's a huge loaded question.
Yeah.
Especially if
it's a hard question to answer, really. I'm definitely looking at other things to kind of do in the season that's not just the CrossFit season. Kind of spoke to my coach a little bit about it, and we think like even things like trying a high rocks. I know me and Jen definitely want to do one of them because I feel like we'd be pretty good at it. And then again with like the functional fitness racing, it's like a breath of fresh air, really. Like it's something different. So that should be exciting. And then I don't know, I feel like I've not really looked for any competitions yet in 2025. I'm just kind of chipping away at what I can training wise, and I'll probably just see where it takes me, kind of thing.
Yeah. Okay. Exciting.
I think because everything's so up in the air as well at the minute, like it's hard to kind of make a goal and be like, that's happening because
I don't know. I think you just backload the whole schedule like this. You just go, okay, 2025, we'll do Rogue in November. We'll do
that's on
FitFest again in December, and
we'll be trying for Rogue 110%.
Happy with that. Oh, this is interesting. The British Functional Fitness 2025 season will be announced prior to the Worlds. We're building on this season big time. So, okay, maybe there'll be even more coming that way then. I was going to say it's in Australia next year, but I think that's the Masters one is in Australia. So I think you wouldn't have to travel that far. But I'm not sure.
Man, traveling to Australia. That would be quite nice.
You're going to go and do
what you complain about a trip to Australia?
I mean, I wouldn't complain. My wallet would complain quite a lot about a trip to Australia. I mean, I'd be happy to go. I was trying to think, what was the competition that Amy Kringle just came back from? Oh, it was like the Down Under Championships.
Yeah,
there you go. Masters is our individuals in Lithuania. There you go. So, neither of you are close to competing as Masters yet, are you? So that's.
We're looking at
it was 10 years.
But I'm a Masters athlete, so I could go to. I mean, I don't think I'd qualify, but I could try and go to Australia. Yeah, Anita, any plans for 2025 beyond? When are you going to get? How much longer are you in like flight training before you can become a full-fledged pilot, and then you can fly us to Australia, and we'll cut out the middleman?
Well, at the minute, I'm just doing my private pilot's license. So that's kind of my biggest goals for 2025 is to actually obtain it. And because I'm training part-time right now, it's kind of a bit of a slow process because I can only fly at the weekends, and because I live in Scotland, half or even more than half my lessons actually get cancelled because of the weather. So for now, that's just my plan for 2025. And then from then onwards, I don't really know yet. I potentially could go full-time training, or maybe continue sort of hour building and ticking along, or not sure yet in terms of piloting. In terms of CrossFit competitions, kind of similar to Ella, I'm not really sure. Me and my coach Fraser were sort of eyeing up different competitions like French Throwdown, or I think, as I mentioned, we're going to attempt the road qualifiers, Wadapalooza qualifiers, and just sort of see where I get to. And then similar with the CrossFit season, who knows at this point. I guess we just have to see and take every week as it comes.
Do you think there's enough going on that you could quite, and I'm not saying you'll do this, and I'm not saying other people should do this, and I'm just curious to hear from people that, you know, in previous years have, like, you know, Ella, you've been to semifinals. Obviously you would have loved to go to the games. Like, that was your kind of driving force in competing last year. Do you feel there's enough there for you as a competitive athlete that you could actually say, you know what, I could sit out the kind of official games season and there's still plenty for me to do, and there's plenty of like comps that I feel would be kind of prestigious enough and scratch that itch? Or do you still think kind of the, I don't know, just the title of the CrossFit Games is enough of like an incentive for people to keep kind of, oh, I've got to be in that season because I want to kind of tick that box?
I think there's definitely a lot of off-season competitions that have really good statuses where athletes can go and still get that kind of in-season feel. I think with regards to like the CrossFit Games status thing, for me, I feel like this year has put like a lot into perspective of like friends and family are so important, and it's like you can obviously work towards a goal, but I feel like obviously devoting everything to that one thing, especially with the inconsistency and obviously everything that's happened this year, I feel like instead of just having like looking at that one thing and having that as like your sole goal, I think like the opportunities to kind of work towards things at different times of the year where like, you know, the dates of competitions, obviously you still have several opportunities to compete against athletes that are the best in the world. And yeah, again, like I just feel like making time for friends, family, like everything's just kind of been put into perspective a lot more this year, really.
Yeah. It's just interesting because I, you know, like Rogue was, at least in my view, extremely successful this year, like in being over in Scotland. I mean, I don't think they've announced anything yet for next year, but speaking with them and like, you know, I had a brief chat with Katie at the end, and just like the also the kind of what you were hearing from other people that had been speaking with different people there was sort of, while it's not confirmed or booked for next year, like them going back again a second year there seems almost inevitable, like from this point of view, because it was, I mean, also like if people had gone there, they would have seen that the setup for that kind of competition as well was just like ideal. So they have the hotel as part of the facility, so where the athletes are staying, all of that sort of stuff is just so easy, so convenient. You know, it's for a competition organizer, it's like set up perfectly. And then the crowd were, you know, it was packed, it was full, like people were cheering. Katie has said on record that she hopes it's there again. Yeah. And I was speaking to someone who sort of said, and if she hopes, you know, she generally gets things she wants. So
there was definitely some rumors floating around in the crowds as well. It was back.
Yeah. So I mean that, like that. So I see Rogue doing that. Then you're both going off for the IF3, so I'll be really intrigued. Well, I'll be there, so I'll be able to ask you in person kind of how you view that experience. And I get the impression with the way they want it to be, like Ella, you were saying, with like kind of this unknown every season of the games, and it's sort of like, oh, how are we going to change qualifying this year, or which what's going to be a semi-final, or how are you going to get to the what's going to be the route to the games this year, who knows? And it seems like every year they're changing it. Sorry,
like for example, like Anita, you came like you were very, very close to semis this year, and it's like I feel like if you had the same, like you knew that was going to be the same established season, you can just be like, right, what went wrong? What do I need to work at? These are the similar types of workouts that come up for, say, quarterfinals. But then if obviously it is rumored that it's all changing, it's like, right, it's totally new season layout. Like you don't know what type of workouts are going to come into it, if they're going to be similar style, if they're going to be different. And then it's like, it makes it harder for the athlete as well, because you've got things that you need to work towards then. And I know obviously when it comes like, if you're fit enough, you will make it kind of thing. But at the same time, it does throw people off, especially when you devote so much time and effort to training and getting better. And like you can kind of repeat workouts of like a similar sort of style, say for quarterfinals, and see where you would have like see your improvements and be like, right, next time if something similar to this comes up, I know I'm going to be okay because I've worked at it. Like it just makes it harder and harder because it throws people off as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I agree with what you said, Ella, because I was so close last year, that kind of sort of defined my goal for this coming year. But obviously, like you said, with the whole season potentially changing, or, well, we don't know what's going to happen yet. So that's sort of the major contribution to my uncertainty and just flexibility, really, to this new season coming up.
Yeah, because like for me, it doesn't really change anything, right? Like I'm sat here, I can talk about the season as it is this year, I can talk about the season as it was last year, I can talk about it the coming year. Like it's not going to change my day to day depending on how the season is, right? But for you, like there's so much focus and drive behind decisions that you're making in your day to day based on information you've gained from a previous season. And so when they change that, that's like, well, hold on, I've just structured a whole, blocks of training, or even, even if it's things like, well, I know if, qualifiers, the Open's are going to be this period of time, then, the semifinals are going to be around there, the quarters are going to be here. Like, okay, I'm going to make sure that I'm, in this location at that period of time, and I've got the right people around me, and I've done things leading up to, like, there's so much that goes into it. So when they start making changes, we can sit at home and be like, oh, I'm not sure how I feel about this new season, but actually it doesn't really change anything for me. But for you, these are huge changes. And so the idea that there could be just, this fixed structure and just like, this is how it works, and this is how it works every year, and we all know this is how it works, and everybody knows what to expect. It feels like it feels crazy that is us sort of being like, if only it was like that. Because really, you think that's how it just should just be like that. But anyway, that's my. Oh, sorry, I'm getting messages popping up. Yeah, okay, sorry. Anyway, I'm just really curious to see how things play out now, because it just feels like a perfect storm of all these different things happening at the same time. And so, like, obviously the games this year was tragic. And so if the season changes, that it becomes less appealing. It's like that on top of the fact that it was also already kind of, marred this year. And then you look to the other side and you're like, but look at Rogue, it was amazing, and it came to Europe, and it was so much fun, and everyone was having a good time. And then, maybe you'll have this amazing adventure in Budapest to be like, oh, it was so nice to have a competition that had this layout that was so clearly defined, and I already know next year, as Magda's saying, it's going to be released before you go to, man, that's crazy, right? Before you go to the event, like to the finals this year, you're going to already know the layout of the season for the following year. Whereas we'll have the games come and go and then we're still speculating on who knows what like the next season will look like. So yeah, interesting. I don't know. Just I've not been on the show for a while, I had a week off, so I've had a lot of time to think. This is what happens when I get left alone to think about things. Exciting. Okay. So we've talked about Budapest, we've talked about FitFest, we've talked about flying, we've talked about the traffic, and I've talked about the 2025 season. So that was all the notes I had. So I'm pretty happy that I've covered all of that off. Is there anything you will be doing between now and these events that we should be looking out for, or is it now just sort of the end goal is in sight? Because Anita, I scroll through your Instagram and it seems like every other weekend you're in a pairs comp somewhere, or you're and all credit, very often those pictures are you standing on a podium, so that's pretty impressive as well. So well done, congratulations. We're looking forward to seeing you on a podium at Worlds. But yeah, anything else between now and Worlds, or is it all just sort of driving towards that at this point?
Between now and Worlds, I don't really have anything on, but I did sort of. Megan Powell reached out to me literally the day before the qualification window opened for Wadapalooza for teams. So I agreed to do them with her and Sarah Maya. We somehow managed to qualify. So we're going to Wadapalooza at the end of January, which was definitely not on my cards until the day before the qualification window.
That's nice. I mean, you're becoming very well traveled at this point.
That'll be exciting.
Have you ever been to Wadapalooza before?
Nope, never been.
Nope. No. Have you been, Ella?
No, but it's that comp that every year I'm like, I'm going to do Wadapalooza because I really want to experience it. And then we had proving grounds the week of the qualifiers, and my body just doesn't do well with like 50 workouts in 3 days, 4 days, say. So I thought I'll give it a miss this year, but I definitely want to do it.
Yeah.
It'll be 2026, won't it?
Yeah. So who's your team that you're putting together mentally at this point?
My team?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't know. I do want to do it as an individual, but again, because it's only 2 days, it would make sense to do the team as well.
Yeah, maximize your time there. Be like those elites who do India and the team comp. Yeah. Even though you have just said my body doesn't deal well with. I also like
I think it's more like, because I mean, Jen obviously did the qualifiers and she did 2 on the Friday. Then we did however many events it was at Proving Grounds. I think it was 6.
6 events.
And then on the Monday, she did more qualifiers. And like, I think it's more just at the moment, my training is like, I'm not accustomed to that much volume. If you know, I'm like a less is more kind of athlete. Like,
hey, you don't have to justify it to me. I'm like, I'm going, hey, I went to the gym today. That's pretty good. I think I could take the rest of the week off. That's my, I do like the way you sort of justify, like, I think my body just doesn't respond well to like 50 workouts in a 48-hour window. Yeah. I think most people probably feel that way.
When I'm like peaked for it, like semis, I coped pretty well. But yeah, obviously it's still off season. When the adrenaline's there, it's fine. But yeah.
Yeah. How do you feel when that adrenaline like ends? So you say like semis, you're just pushing, and then it stops. Like only because we were speaking before going live, and I was just saying like I had a pretty stressful couple of weeks. Finally, I'm like off for a day or two. And then my body is like, right, congratulations, we made it through. Now suffer. Was it like that when you kind of came out from semis that you suddenly
I wasn't sore. I was just tired. Like my body just felt exhausted. Sometimes I might get ill because obviously your immune system gets compromised quite a bit. But I was just tired. That's the only way. Because I ordered a Deliveroo on the day after. I was meant to go for food with like Jen and everyone, but the Uber was about 30 minutes away, and I was just like, that's too far. I'm too tired for that. So I ordered a KFC in France that never came. So I didn't end up eating after semis. So I just felt so tired. I felt hungover. That's the way to describe it. Like my head was banging. But I wasn't that sore. So
I'm surprised. Like I just feel like that probably isn't even a real KFC in France. That
No.
they've set you up to be like, this is how we get back at these people because
Yeah.
the famous French cuisine, and there you are ordering a KFC. I think they took it personally, and they'll never forgive you for that.
Yeah. I just chopped on dry crackers that my mum bought from the weekend, and it wasn't great.
Yeah. Okay. Final thing then. Will any of your friends and family be heading out to Budapest with you to cheer you on?
My mum and dad were going to, but my mum has a few hospital appointments, so won't be going. So they were going to, but they're not now. They're coming to watch FitFest though.
Yeah. Okay. I'll say hello to them there then.
You can meet them there,
and I'll tell them that I'll be shouting for you at, the thing at FitFest though that's really going to be hard now is I've befriended too many people on different teams, and I'm going to find it very hard to cheer people on, especially if I am like standing next to Dylan Lowen and cheering for you to like beat Ariel in a workout. That's going to be hard. Anyway, it'll be fine. Anita, what about you? Are you taking a whole squad with you to? No, because you're staying with Ella I already know the answer to this. You guys are in the Airbnb together, so you're taking Ella to cheer you on.
There's a group of us in the Airbnb.
Yeah. I think there's like six or seven of us in the Airbnb. Is it?
Yeah, interesting. Don't ask Ella. She didn't even know. She forgot she even had an Airbnb. She had to book an extra day.
I know. I think it's 5.
Oh. Well, anyway, there's a group of us, but my parents also aren't coming, so they'll be watching live stream.
Is that 5 athletes or athletes and friends?
It's Fraser Clark, coach.
Right.
Anita's boyfriend Fraser number 2, Phil Roy, and me.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, Phil is not staying with the rest of his team.
No.
That's bonding for you. Okay, interesting. 2 Frasers. All right. And neither of them are Matt Fraser, right? We're not adding another Fraser into the mix.
No.
That would have been a big reveal at this point. Imagine Matt Fraser's coming to coach the British functional fitness racing team. Wow.
And staying with us at the Airbnb as well.
Yeah. Because that man is all about a budget. So wonderful. Well, Anita, we're going to let you go and finish your journey home. So,
yeah,
thank you so much for
much.
getting off the motorway and at least finding somewhere where you could talk to us. Ella, you've got a track session. Is that still on the books?
It's just a zone 2 run, but it's just a 40-minute plod, which is long.
Yeah. Where do you do that?
I'm going to do it along the canal, I think. I can't be bothered to run around in circles.
No? Okay.
Whack some headphones in and just go 20 minutes out and then come back.
Do it for the views.
Yeah.
Yeah. And how many times will you have to stop on your run to set up your camera so you can kind of catch different angles so you can make a beautiful reel of your run? Yeah. No fitness was accomplished, but man, it looks amazing. Okay. Final things then. So Jeffrey is wishing you best of luck on your flight school, which is nice.
Thank you.
Yeah, I think coming from the US, he's not allowed to wish you best of luck on the British team taking the title. So that's probably why that is. And Sammy is just high five, thumbs up all around. Well, thank you very much, Ella. Thank you, Anita. Thank you everyone for listening. I will be back much sooner than from the last episode. I'll be back on Sunday with 3 of the women from the Atlanta Wilds team. The return of Vilma, Sydney and Amanda, who are now the 2024 champions for the Grid League. And then on Wednesday, I'll be back with Roderick, Memes for Time, and George, Coach GT. And we'll be catching up on everything post Rogue and memes and stuff like that they've been doing. So not nearly as serious as this chat, obviously. But thank you again, Ella. Thank you, Anita. And hopefully see people, I guess, at the weekend on Sunday for that other chat. Who knows?